Welcome to Everyday Linux User. In today's video, we are looking at Kubuntu 26.04, the long-term support release of Kubuntu. And this version of Kubuntu is supported for many years to come, so if you install it, you won't have to worry about upgrading for quite some time. Now, when I think of Linux distributions that are easy to use and perfect for the everyday Linux user, I quite often mention Ubuntu, Linux Mint, or Zorin. But it's worth noting that if you use Kubuntu, you get everything that you get with Ubuntu, but with the KDE desktop, which for a lot of users is going to be more straightforward than Ubuntu. As computer users, we've all grown up with this concept of a bar at the bottom, and we've all got used to the idea of this menu down the left side, quick launch icons along here, and a system tray in the bottom right. And that's where I think Kubuntu is great for the majority of computer users out there. If you're not a tech head and you just want a computer that works and you're fed up with Windows, with the account system, with the requirements, because maybe your machine doesn't run Windows 11, and you just want a machine that works without pandering to a big tech organization, then Kubuntu is perfect for you. Now, installing Kubuntu couldn't be easier. So if you boot into the live Kubuntu image, you can just double click on the installer and you get this nice linear, straightforward set of instructions to follow. So first thing you have to do is choose your language, and then you choose your location, and that just means clicking somewhere on the map where you live. Then you choose your keyboard layout, which is usually just a case of picking your language again. And then you choose whether you want the full or normal installation, or indeed a minimal one if you want one. Now, the full installation gives you everything on that page, so all those third-party repositories you get with the full installation. If you want to mix and match a bit, you can click on normal and just pick the extra third-party things that you may or may not want. There's no onus on you to pick anything other than normal installation if you so wish. You can always install the other stuff later on down the road. Then it's a case of where do you want to put Kubuntu? And this bit I found a little bit odd in the sense that it gives you the option to install alongside your current operating system, which for most people coming to Linux for the first time will be Windows, but could quite easily be another Linux distribution. Or it gives you the option of replacing a partition. It doesn't give an option for erase and install, which would be the thing that most people want because they just want to get rid of Windows and put Kubuntu on. But for the majority of users, you're just going to want to choose replace a partition and then pick the partition you want to replace. Now I've chosen a manual install as I wanted to put Kubuntu in a very specific place. I'll skip ahead, I'll show you the screens, but you don't need to follow along with this bit at all if you're installing Kubuntu, because most people won't need to do this. Next, you set up a user, which is just a case of entering your name, giving your computer a name, and then choosing a password. And then all you have to do is click install. When you reboot, you'll be asked to remove your USB drive, and then you'll be in Kubuntu. Now, the first time you boot in, you're going to see this welcome screen, and it enables you to find out a bit more about Kubuntu along the way. So we click next here, and it tells you about Kubuntu, and it lets you set a few things ahead of time and read up on things like KDE Connect. We'll go into that a bit later on. And then how to find great apps. And then it asks, do you want to share any usage information? And I've got it disabled. And then you've got a tour, and that's it. And then you don't see that again next time you boot into Kubuntu. The first thing I like to do after installing an operating system is check that my hardware works. And because Kubuntu is a part of the Ubuntu family, you can be perfectly safe that it's likely to work. So for instance, if I click down here, left click, as you would with Windows, and you can see I've got all my Wi-Fi networks available to me, and I've got my wired network because I've got an Ethernet cable in the back. So that works perfectly fine.
Bluetooth mode.
If I click on Bluetooth down here and I click on pair a device, You can see it's found a device, and I just double click on that.
Connecting.
And that's it, my Bluetooth device is set up.
Disconnected.
And then the last thing I like to set up is my printer. Just type printers in there and you can get to your printers, and you can see it's set up by default. I didn't have to go into the menu. I could have gone into the system settings here, and you can see there's a printers option right there. And if we look at these settings, you can choose some quick settings. So if you want to change your theme, so I've got on light theme, you've got Kubuntu dark if you prefer a dark theme, and then you've got automatic, which changes the appearance depending on the time of day. You can change wallpapers, the global theme, and we'll get into that a bit later on, not too heavily. And then we've got some other settings here. You can set your mouse, your touchpad, your keyboard, multimedia, all sorts of things there. You can set up game controllers, sort out your sound if that's wrong. You can change your display if you're wrong resolution. You've seen Bluetooth here, disks and cameras, set up Wi-Fi and internet. So all the settings that you need are in this settings panel here. So this is like your control panel within Windows. Now Kubuntu comes with a decent set of software to start off with. So if we go into development, you've got a text editor, which is the equivalent of Notepad in Windows. Games, you've got a few games included by default. Under graphics, we've got a image viewer. The full LibreOffice suite is installed. You've got a PDF viewer and a scanning tool. And then under internet, Firefox is your web browser. KDE Connect, we can come back to that later on. And then you've got Thunderbird email, and you've got a Ramina for remoting onto other computers. And then you've got a chat client as well. And then under multimedia, we've got Elisa for listening to music and listening to online radio. Haruna is a media player for watching videos. I've installed VLC as well. I installed Kdenlive and OBS because obviously I record and edit videos. And then we've got this QR scanner here. As mentioned before, the full LibreOffice suite is installed by default. And then under Science and Maths, you're going to see that again. And then you've got all your system tools. But what if there's an application you need that isn't installed? Well, down here on the taskbar, you've got the managed software here, or you can go into here and you've got managed software here. It's called KDE Discover, but if we click this, it asks you whether you want to run Discover, which is the one that most people want to use, or Synaptic. Synaptic's more basic in style. I'll show you that first, just so you can see how basic it is. And you can see it's got a load of categories down the left side and a whole load of packages. It's not particularly easy to navigate, but it can be useful, and I'll show you why later on. And then we'll go here, and Discover is the place that most people want to go. Now, Ubuntu and Kubuntu, Xubuntu, Lubuntu, they all use snap packages, which are default with the Ubuntu family. Now, they aren't always the most popular in the Linux community, but for the average ordinary computer user, you don't care whether you're using a snap package, a Flatpak, a Debian package, an RPM, you just don't care. You just want to install a piece of software. Does it work? Does it run? If it does, then great, your operating system is doing what you want it to do. And I think snaps are perfectly usable in the modern day, and I'm sure if you do a side-by-side comparison, there might be a slight negligible difference between them and Flatpaks, but you're not going to notice as the average ordinary user. And I can't say one way or another at this moment in time whether snaps are better than Flatpaks or the other way round. All I can say is that for the average user, you're not going to care, you're not going to notice. KDE Discover is a brilliant tool for managing packages. It's absolutely perfect, and it works with the KDE desktop very, very well. You can see here you've got all the most popular ones here. You've got editor's choice of things that you might want to install, highest rated games, and developer tools, etc. And down the left hand side you've got a list of categories that you can skim down, and so you can browse for software that you might want. But if you want to, you can search for the package you need. For instance, say you want Steam, you just search for Steam, and there it is. You just click that there, and you install from Snap, and it's just as simple as clicking that button. Do you want Spotify? There it is. Click that, click install from Snap, and all you have to do, enter your password, and that's now going to download and install. As simple as that. So for the average ordinary computer user, Kubuntu couldn't be easier. That's it installed. If I go down here now, Spotify, there you go, it's there. And what you can do is, if you want a desktop icon, right click, add to desktop. If you want it in the panel at the bottom, pin to the task manager. And if you just want it in your favorites, if you click add to favorites, now when I click here, it's now on the favorite screen here, and I don't have to go down here to look for it, which is a nice feature. Now I don't particularly like desktop icons, so I'm going to move that to the bin, and you can still see it still works. All I've removed is the shortcut. And all you have to do is log in and you'll be able to listen to Spotify. Now if we go into LibreOffice, you'll see that you've only got the fonts that come with Linux. You don't get the ones that you get with Windows, such as Arial and things like that. So this is where Synaptic comes in handy. So if we click down here again and we go to Synaptic, now you can do this with the terminal, but I'm going to try and show you doing this without using the terminal. So if we search for core fonts, you've got this TTF MS Core Fonts installer. You could have searched for Microsoft Fonts. Let's see if that works. Comes back with a fair few more, but you can see, there we go. The other thing you can do is install this package here, which not only gives you common fonts, it also gives you common codecs for watching videos, listening to music, etc. So I actually recommend installing this one here. So we're going to mark that for installation. And you can see it automatically checks the top box because that package is now part of that package, and we click apply. Do you accept the license agreement? Click next. And that's the changes applied. If we go back into LibreOffice now, scroll to the top, you can see you've got Arial, Arial Black, Courier New, etc. And if you want to make those the default ones, all you have to do in LibreOffice is go down to here, LibreOffice Writer, I think it's under fonts, and you see the defaults, so you can set it to the one that you want. So for instance, if you want it to be Arial, now from now on Arial will be the default font when you start typing. That's how you set up LibreOffice. Let's not save that. Let's have a look at some customization features. So the basics in Windows, if you want to change your desktop wallpaper, right click, change your desktop wallpaper. In Kubuntu, exactly the same. And so these are the default wallpapers that come with Kubuntu. That's quite nice, but you can add in some more. So we can do get new. And we can sort by rating or download. So I'm going to sort by rating, and these are some that you could have. So if I want this one, I can click install, and then you can choose what sort of size you want. I'm just going to go for the no logo, like that. Now I'm going to go back to here. You see that is now available as a wallpaper, so we click there, and that's quite a nice wallpaper. Now you see these ones down the bottom that have sort of like half and half with the moon. It means the one on the left is going to be during the daytime, and that's what it's going to look like at night. So they're sort of like split wallpapers of dark and light, and they change depending on the time of day. Now you can add in your own wallpaper, and so what you do is click add, and I put my wallpaper in this wallpapers folder under the pictures folder, and I've created this. And there it is. And it's the Strangest Things wallpaper, but all the characters are penguins. What else can you do with KDE when it comes to theming? Well, if we go down into the system settings here and go down to appearance, you can see you've got this color and themes option. So you can change your theme. So you can have breeze light, breeze dark, and all these other ones. You can also, and you can switch between dark and night mode. You can also click get new if we expand it out like that. And just as you could with background wallpapers, you can install other themes. I'm not going to do that today. I quite like the Kubuntu theme as it is, but essentially you just click install and then you can click use because it will appear here. Now, one of the other apps that you've got installed is KDE Connect. So if we find that, I think it's under Internet, KDE Connect. So if I open that up, this comes by default. You can see I've got my Pixel phone and I've clicked request pairing on that. And then I'm going to click accept. And now I can now share a file from my phone to my Linux desktop. So here's one here. You see it's receiving a file down at the bottom. And I believe that goes into my downloads folder. And there it is. There's the file I just shared. And that's a very young looking Belinda Carlisle from back in the day. So KDE Connect is a good way of sharing files and folders, and it also enables you to manage your computer using your phone. So you can see you can have your phone as a remote controller. So you can do presentations. So imagine you've got the Kubuntu screen on a big screen in a room. You can use your phone as a pointer or as a almost as a mouse from where you're standing doing your presentation. We're going to unpair that now. Now you'll notice here there's another icon called Local Send. This is a very similar, not as fully featured as a KDE Connect, but it's a good way of sharing files between different devices. So for example, you can share from your phone, whether it's Android or Apple, you share from other computers. You just have to have Local Send installed on each device. But as you can see, Kubuntu is the perfect distribution for your average ordinary computer user. And I almost recommend it more than Ubuntu, I think, because everything's where you expect it to be with the menus, the quick launch icons and the system tray. For your average person, I think Kubuntu is absolutely brilliant and I thoroughly recommend it. But for now, that is the end of the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Linux User.